This
as well,
conference will now be recorded.
setting up the designs as well as firewalls and everything. So I thought of having a better understanding from the network perspective so that it will give me better understanding as an in-depth knowledge of networks, and which might or which will definitely help me in understanding how the LCEs work. Yeah, that's about me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, great. Apart for your server introductions. So, I mean, one just want to understand. So, as you said, 13 years experience, right? I mean, in terms of networking field or in terms of other fields, just
No.
want to
Service
understand.
manager. Service manager.
Oh, you're into the management level of stuff.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Super. Thank you so much, Paul and Danush. Danush, are you there? Okay, great. No worries. So I think Nidhi, can you start about yourself? Maybe our folks are very new, right? I know. I think last time we given the introduction, but for our friends' sake, just give.
Yeah, 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 Sandeep, sure. So good morning, everybody. This is Nidhi here, and I have completed my BCA and MCA, and I'm based out of Mysore. So I don't have any relevant experience into networking, and so that I'm here to learn more about networking for my career growth. But I do possess some 7 to 8 months of experience into HR, and yeah, so this is about myself. And the reason for choosing CCNA is that just to know more about and learn more about networking, which is a very important thing in any IT industry, wherein handling the network is the main major important thing, wherein we can uh, have a more growth. So yeah, this is about myself. Thank you so much.
Super. Thank you so much, Nidhi. Yeah, that's correct. Networking is a booming technology. So wherever, as I said you before, so if you want to move your career into any technologies, having the networking concepts is always good, and that will take you into the next level of your job opportunities or anything. But it's a booming
Yeah,
technology. It's a baseline it's a backbone for every technology. So yeah,
absolutely.
thank you so much. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Nidhi. I think Dhanush has some issues, right? I think what about Austin? I think he left. Okay, let me share my screen. Were you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So before that, I want to give my introduction and let's start the first session. Okay. So guys, I think you guys are enrolled for CCNA, right? So this is the introduction to about my experience. So total I have total 13 14 plus years experience. I think this was updated last year. So 14 almost 12 plus years experience in networking, security, AWS, and automation. Completely implementing and designing all the networking stuff and cloud and DevOps part, everything. So I've been teaching since last 6 years. I mean, mostly I used to give the training on CCNA, CCNP, and CCI related. And AWS I used to give the trainings and Python and DevOps and Ansible and Terraform. These are the latest technologies I've been teaching since last 6 years. For CCNA, yes, my core is completely on networking, having more than 12 plus years experience in complete networking field. And I completed the CCNA certified. I'm certified in CCIE. I certified in AWS Solution Architect. I certified in DevOps. So this is about my certifications. Since come to the batches wise, so far I completed. I mean I covered more than thousand plus students so far, and since last 3 months I almost completed 20 to 13 batches. I mean 20 to 25 batches I most completed in only especially CCNA, AWS, and DevOps. So apart from these 3 batches, I also cover the DevOps, Python and Terraform and Ansible as well. That's about my experience and hands-on. Probably, I think you guys enroll for CCNA. CCNA stands for Cisco Certified Network Associate, right? So normally, what I do, so actually you guys are enrolled for CCNA, but I don't want to teach only the CCNA. Apart from CCNA, I want to teach you few more services. The first thing is I want to teach you the Python and the automation. Okay, so normally if you learn the CCNA, that will not enough to move your career into the networking field. Either maybe a couple of persons are in the having 10 plus years experience, but even though you should know the basics of Python for automation. Nowadays, every organizations are completely moving from the operations to the automation side, right? So you need to understand the networking plus Python. Then only your resume will be, that will be very low. So I want to teach you networking plus Python basics for your network automation. So this is my agenda. So as you know, CCNA is probably the most popular Cisco certification there is. The course covers everything in CCNA. You will learn the basics of networking, how to configure a small network with Cisco routers and switches and more. And as I'm going to cover you the, 2 to 3 sessions, probably 4 sessions, I guess. So I'm going to cover the Python. So introduction, how to install, how to learn the Python, how to write, what is Python, introduction to Python, applications of Python, and how to install the Python, and how to write the programming for your networking devices, right? For example, if you have 100 devices in your organization, if you want to take the iOS version of 100 devices, how we can take it? Instead of logging into your physical devices, you can write the piece of code using the Python, and right, we can retrieve the iOS version which is running inside of your 100 devices so easily. So those kind of scenarios I'm going to show you using the Python. Yeah, I think the course agenda is completely highlighting learn the basics of networking, the difference between the protocols like the IP, TCP, and UDP, the difference between IP version 4 and IP version 6. Now I'm not going to cover it. The difference between routers and switches, how to configure Cisco Catalyst switches, how to configure iOS routers, how to configure the OSP or BGP, AJP routing protocols, how to protect your routers with access list and VPNs, how network automation impacts traditional network management, and many other topics we're going to cover it. So before we start this, right, there will be some prerequisite which is needed from you guys. The first one is basic computer skills and basic understanding of networking. Maybe probably if you guys are aware of what is my networking, that's fine. If not, I'm going to teach you from the scratching. So this will the basics understanding of networking, this will not make it easier, but it's not required. We'll start from the beginning. Right. Now how to study Cisco networking. This is very important, right? If you see here, when you want to study networking, there are two things you must have to learn to achieve. The first one is theory and second is practicals. Okay, so this is the way I used to follow. So initially the first maybe let's take us tomorrow, right? Tomorrow I'm going to cover the first theoretical. I'm going to cover theoretical. Later on the next day I'm going to cover the practice with the labs. Okay, so theory, understand how all the different protocols works that runs on routers, switches, and other networking devices. Practical experience in the sense you have to be able to implement the theory by configuring routers, switches, and other networking devices. You learn all about the different protocols theory by reading books, watching videos, or joining a classroom course. Practical experience is achieved by getting your hands dirty and configuring networking devices. Right. So these probably I'll share the complete the link you guys have to download for practical purposes. So I think I'm going to share that link by end of the course. End of the class. And one more thing, guys. So before I'm not going to share these PPTs with you guys. I will share only the PPTs once the courses get completed. And before that time, you have to prepare your own notes. Whatever I'm teaching every day, daily basis, you guys have to prepare the notes. And that is the thing. And after completion of the course, yes, I'm free. I'm okay to share this PPTs to you guys along with the recordings. You see why? Because this is my actual thing, I won't share the PPTs to the students directly, because they have to prepare the notes by themselves. And by whenever they're preparing the notes by themselves, they'll be get confident more on that, and they'll go for interviews. They'll definitely crack the interviews. So that is my reason behind it. But anyway, a good note taking can help when you study for exams or when you have to look things up for your job. Okay, that's about notes. Yeah, I think this is the basics agenda. So we're going to discuss about net introduction, networking fundamentals, networking access like LANs, VLANs, trunks, VDP, and STPs in the switching technology. In the routing part, we're going to discuss about what is difference between routers and switches, IP routing. Like in routing and dynamic routing protocol, we're going to discuss BGP, OSPF, and AJRP. IP services. The fifth service would be sixth would be security. The security pattern, we're going to discuss access list and firewall introductions. Just introduction about the firewalls. I'm not going to teach you the ASA firewall or the Palo Alto, just how firewall works. I'll give you better understanding. And networking designs, we can design few architectures like hub and spoke topology or three-layer architecture, it depends. And lastly about the automation, and lastly about cloud computing. The beauty here is, so even though you guys enroll for CCNA, right, I'm going to teach you, I'm going bonus to you guys two things. The first one is automation, the second one is cloud computing called AWS. So because nowadays most of the network engineers are have the better growth in the cloud as well, because in the cloud there is a couple of services couple of services like VPC, transit gateways, a lot of things are there in the cloud as well. For that, network engineers are required. So always cloud. I mean, if you're planning to move your career into cloud, definitely CCN plus automation plus cloud will help you a lot. And there are a lot of there are lot of demand is there across the globe in every MNCs who have experience in networking, not CCNA, just networking. Networking, that could be any certification, CCNA, CCNP, CCNA, anything is fine. Plus automation plus cloud. If you have these three technologies, you'll become very high demand person in the at least in the your location. So this is about the course agenda. Any questions, guys? Any questions regarding the course or content or whatever you want to highlight?
I just have a small question, sir. You said that during the second or the third slide, in the course introductory notes, you said that you won't be going through IPv4 and v6. Any particular reason that you won't be going through that?
Sorry.
The difference between IPv4 and v6. You said that you won't be going through that. Any particular reason for that?
Yeah, no, I'm going to cover actually this is a syllabus for CCA. Okay, I used to cover, this is the content which I'm going to cover for CCA students. Since you guys are enrolled for CCNA, I think IP version 6 is not required for you guys. So I think IP version 4 would be required.
Okay.
So that is the reason.
Okay, sure. No issues. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I think I need to remove this part. I'll remove this. So super. Now come to the network introduction. So today we're going to discuss the network fundamentals, at least before we start the actual course. Maybe Paul, maybe you have 13x, maybe you know what is meant by network. For other folks, I'm not sure whether they are aware of it or not. So I'm just going through. Today is completely the basics. I'm going to cover it. Start. So the agenda for today is what is meant by network, the network usage, network hardware. So what is meant by IP, subnet mask, IP address classes, and public IP and private IP. This is the 5 to 6 contents we're going to cover it today. So before I start the session, I want some couple of answers from your side. What do you mean by network, guys? You guys are enrolled for CCNA, and I heard a lot of persons are saying about networking, network. What is mean network? Can someone answer the question? Nidhi or Dhanush? I know Paul can answer. That's the reason just ignored. But what about Nidhi and Dhanush?
Yes, like I would like to say network is the connection between two systems or two computers or any two
Super,
media, which can allow us to exchange some files or
super,
anything
excellent,
actually
excellent. That's
to,
excellent,
yeah.
excellent. So that's correct. So I think Dhanush has some issues with his speaker, I guess. So that's fine. So whatever the Nidhi said, that's correct. Excellent. So what is mean network? Let's go to this slide. Then we'll go for the exact definitions. A network consists of two or more computers that are linked in order to share the resources. Okay, and exchanging files and allow electronic communications. Simply, a network is simply defined as something that connects things together for a specific purpose. So let's take an example called. Let me take one PPT, one paint. Okay, let's take this is organization. In the organization, let's take is we have the three users. Okay, maybe this could be okay, this is user 1, A, B, and C. Now, normally, let's take a user A want to talk with user B. In similar fashion, user B want to talk with the user C. Okay, so in these cases, we would require some network. If you want to communicate from user A to user B to user C, we want the network. Without having the network, how this can be accomplished? We were taking as a networking layer. Call this could be switches or firewalls, anything. I'll let you know what is my switches, what is my routers, nothing, everything. But we'll be taking this as a switch. It's a networking device. Okay. Now, if user A want to send, if user A want to talk with user B, he will be connected to the switch. One end will be connected to the PC, and another end will be connected to the one of the port which is connected on this particular switch. The similar fashion, user B will be connected to the switch, user C will be connected to the switch. Now we form the network. So this is the combination of all the pieces is called network, right? So now this end user want to communicate with user C, then the request will be forwarded to the network devices. These network devices will take care responsibility of forwarding the frames to the user B and user C. So if you see the definition, a network is simply define something that connects things together for a specific purpose. Here the purpose would be maybe sending a mails or sharing the resources, whatever may be. That can be anything. If something that connects things together for a specific purpose, that is called network. A computer network connects two or more devices together to share a nearly limitless range of informations and services, including documents, emails, websites, databases, music, printers, and faxes. So this is one kind of, this I'm given this is a normal example for you to understand better. Let's take one more example called we have the internet. This is the YouTube. For example, this is the YouTube server. Okay. Now, for example, the end user want to access the YouTube. So for that also he would require the network. Without having the network, we cannot share, we cannot access any resources from the end user machines. So this is the complete definition. A computer network connects two or more devices together to share a nearly limitless range of information and services, including documents. You can share the documents, you can share the email, messaging, websites, accessing the websites, accessing the databases, music, listening the music, printers and faxes, everything can be accomplished using the network. The computers and network may be linked through cables, telephone lines, radio waves, satellites, or infrared beams. Okay, so normally there are two types of networks are available in the market, are there. The first one is LAN, second one is WAN. Let me deal with this. So what is LAN? A LAN is generally a high-speed network that covers a small geographic area, usually contained within a single building or campus. This is very, very important, guys. A LAN is generally a high-speed network that covers a small geographic area, usually contained within a single building or campus, or within the city. That's also fine. A LAN is usually under the single administrator control of single organization. Ethernet is the common most LAN technology. Okay, so let's take an example. Let's take a building. Let's take this is one of the APC building. Okay, inside a building we'll be having 3 departments. Let's take one department is for sales department. One department is admin. One more department is HR. Okay, so here whatever we have the 3 departments. Each department will sit inside of these buildings. Let's take is user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4. Let me remove this HR department in this building. Okay, user 1 and user 2 belongs to sales department. User 1 and user 2 belongs to sales department. User 3, user 4 belongs to admin department. Okay, so in order to connect to the internet, they would require the networking device, networking basics networking, right? So let's take one example call here. We can take one networking devices. So their end devices will be connected to the networking device. Here I'm not mentioning about the switches or routers, just you can call it as networking device. So this will be connected to the ISP. So if you see the definition, a LAN is generally a high-speed network that covers a small geographical area, usually contained within a single building or campus. So this is nothing but LAN. Okay, so communication will be happen within the building. Okay, this is nothing but a LAN. In similar fashion, I have one more building in different location. APC has second building in different location. Here, let's take in here probably let's take a small topology. Let's take here user 1 and user 2. They connected the networking device. Okay, maybe the department would be here. Let's take it as HR department. Okay, HR here, sales department and admin department are operating from the one of the location. Let's take is APC location number 1. and in another location, HR department is operating. Okay. Now, guys, what is my question here is, so is this considered as a LAN or is this considered as a LAN or WAN?
Now, two separate entities would be considered as LAN, but when they are talking together or when they are connected together, that would be considered as a wide area network.
Yes, that's correct. This is LAN. So this is one LAN because it is simply managed by single administrator. This building also managed by single network administrator. If a separate administrators is managing, that is considered as a LAN. Okay. So if you see here, this LAN is managing by different administrator and this LAN is maintaining by different administrator. This is considered as a LAN. Now, in which scenarios we would require the WAN in this case? Let's try to understand the WAN. The book definition of the WAN is a network that spans large geographical locations, usually to connect. This is very important, to connect multiple LANs. If we want to connect multiple LANs, we need to use the wide area network. So why we would like to connect the two different LANs? The reason behind is, for example, the salesman want to send some messages or some mails to HR. Okay, or HR want to send him some notifications or mails to the admin department and sales department. So in these cases, we would require the connectivity between the two sides, right? So in these cases, we're going to use the WAN. Let's take us one more service provider here. This is, let's take this cloud, internet, and this is service provider 1. This is service provider 2. It will be connected with this. So this is nothing but a WAN. Wide area network. The book definition of the WAN is a network that spans large geographical locations, usually to connect multiple LANs. Dedicated cabling or satellite uplinks may be used to connect this type of global network. So if you see here, I'm just drawing with the line, right? This is nothing but a cables. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what is meant by that, everything. In the next slide, we're going to share all the definitions. Okay. Yeah, cables, here it is. So these are the cables we'll be using to connect between one device to other devices, but I'm going to cover it later. So this is about local area LAN and wide area network. Any questions, guys, regarding local area network and wide area network?
No.
So now, if you want to communicate from one network to the other network or one location to other location, there will be a lot of things will be there. Here, probably we're using the BGP. That will be covered in the routing terms. So here we'll be using the VLANs. A lot of concepts will be used in the LAN technology. VLANs, STPs. Okay, SVS will be used in the and access ACLs will be used in the LANs. In the WAN, we'll be using only one. Okay, one more thing is here OSPF or OSPF or EAJRP. This will be used inside of this LAN. And for WAN, we'll be using only one thing is BGP. So BGP is the external gateway routing protocol. We used to form the neighbor relationship with other locations. I'm going to teach you that later, but this is the technologies we'll be following in order to connect from one location to other location buildings. Now let's go for the next slide. Now network usage. Networks are used for a number of reasons. One way or another, it's usually about sharing. So as I said before, the reason behind of connecting one endpoint to the other endpoint is to share the information. That could be information, that could be file sharing or resource sharing or application sharing. Anything. If you want to share some specific resources, yes, we would definitely require the networking. So the main networks are used for a number of reasons. One way or another, it's usually about sharing. In information, we use networks for applications like emails or to reach certain websites. File sharing, we need a network so that users can reach a shared network drive with documents, pictures, and other files. The third one is resource sharing. We can connect a printer to the network that is used by multiple users. No need to connect a printer directly to each computer. And application sharing, we might have users that require access to the same application. For example, a finance department with 5 users that need access to the same bookkeeping software. Okay, so in these cases we want to use the applications sharing. Now let's discuss about basics of networking hardware devices. To build a network, there are some devices that we need. Let me give you an overview with some basics, some of the basic hardware that is used. Host devices are the devices that are used by the end users. A decade ago, we mostly used desktop computers, but nowadays we have laptops, smartphones, tablets, or anything. So whatever the devices which is managed by end users, that's called host devices. Okay, that could be phones, laptops, smartphones, and tablets, or even the workstations. Everything can be considered as a host device. Now, one more important component in networking is servers. Servers are similar to computers but have a different role in the network. For example, when you check your email, when you check your email, your client is connecting to email server to fetch your email address, right? This mail server might be used by thousands of users, so it has to be available 24/7. Servers are similar hardware as what you will find in computers, but depending on the task, are more reliable. They have more RAM with error correction, use hard disks that were designed to be always on, have more storage space and so on. So servers are nothing but, simply you can consider servers as nothing but is a physical hardware. It consists of more specifications. Specifications mean RAM, CPU, and hard disk. On the top of it, we can install any operating system. There could be Windows or Linux or Ubuntu, whatever the operating system you want to run it. You have to run it on the top of the hardware. That is the server. Now, network interface card. To connect our computers and servers to a network, okay, there has to be some interface. We use NICs. Maybe probably if you have seen your laptop or your machines, right, there is some particular port. This looks like this. Okay, this is nothing but it's a RJ45 socket, RJ45 port interface, you can call it as. Okay, this is RJ45 cable, is a Catfish cable. So for the Catfish cable, we'll be having two endpoints. One endpoint is connected to the RJ45 socket, and another endpoint is connected to the another RJ45 socket. This RJ45 socket has to be inserted into the one end of your PC, and another RJ45 socket has to be connected to the particular switch. In laptops and tablets and smartphones, you'll find wireless NICs with radios and antennas. Yeah, this is the thing I'm just explaining about RJ45 Catfish cables. So this is the actual Catfish cable is used to connect one device to the your particular networking device. This is the Catfish cable. This Catfish cable consists of two endpoints. One is this is the one end is connected with the RJ45 socket, RJ45, and another end also will be having same RJ45. You have to insert this RJ45 one end to your system and another end to your particular network. So what is the main use of this? What is the main use of this Catfish, guys? Maybe you may get some doubt on it, right? So simply, if you're sending any packets, any request to the google.com, right, every traffic, every frame will pass through these cables to the networking devices. Whatever the you initiate in the traffic, everything will be passing through these cables. So this cable is very important, and anyway I'm going to discuss the OSI layers. So in the OSI layers we will be learning more into the cables, but this is introduction, just I'm giving the icons and indication. Anyway we're going to learn the OSI layers from application layer to physical layer. At the time we're going to learn the Catfish cables more. Now switches. One of the important hardware in the networking is switches. So in large enterprise networks, you might find big switches that have hundreds of connections for computers and servers. So for example, if you have 50 users who want to talk with each other, then we have to choose 50 interfaces, right? If your organization has thousands of users, then you have to purchase 1,000 interfaces. The 1,000 switches where it has 1,000 interfaces. So yeah, router is one of the important component networking as well. Routers are used for a number of reasons. The main reason is that they figure out what path to use to get to a certain destination. A router is a networking device that forwards data packets between computer networks. Routers perform the traffic directions functions on the internet. So let me give you one example. So guys, as I said before, so normally we'll be not connecting these switches directly to the service provider. So this is wrong pattern. For your simplicity, I just drawn like this. So this devices, the end devices which is connected to this device, that is called switch. So always remember that switches always should be connected to the end devices. Okay, and this end device, switch end devices will be connected to this switch. This switch will be connected to the router. This router will be connected to the internet. This is router. So this router will take the decisions. The main reason of using the router is to, if you want to communicate between, two different networks, we should use routers. Okay, so just for your understanding, just try to keep this in mind whenever I'm discussing routers. Yes, we have to learn a lot of things in the routers. Normally, just this is the keyword. Just try to remember always in your mind. If you want to communicate between the different networks or different sites or different locations, whatever you want, you can call it as. Always we should use the routers. Okay, why we have to use the routers, that is a separate concept we'll be discussing later. Just keep in mind. So now what I'm doing, using this router, I'm trying to communicate with the other location, or even I'm trying to access the Google server which is there in the internet. For anything, you would require the router to forward the packets to the ISPs, service providers. How the packet flows, right? Maybe end user will try to open the browser called www.google.com. Whenever any end users browsers type the google.com in the browser, the request will be initiated from the PC and it will be forwarded to the switch, and it will be forwarded to the switch. The switch will verify where is the destination. If the destination is not there in the MAC table, it will forward to the router. The routers know where to forward the destination, where to forward the request. So this router has ISP attached. That could be ISP here in this case. Let's take in a Tata or BSNL, anything. Let's take in this case Tata or Jio or Reliance, whatever maybe you can call this Tata. The service provider will be connected to the router. Whatever the traffic which is originated from the end user machine, the same request will be re-forwarded to the service provider. Service providers again forward this to the internet, from the internet to the actual Google server. This is the Google server, google.com. Once we send the request, we'll be getting some replies, right? How are we getting? See, if you see, I'm just opening the command prompt. I'm just typing google.com. I'm sending the request. I'm sending the request, but what I'm getting response back, reply back from my 142, 250, 182.20. This is a Google server. I'm getting response back. I'm sending the request. and I'm getting the response. So the similar fashion, the Google server will re-forward back to the internet, from internet to the service provider data, from data to the router, from router to the switch to the actual end user machine. So guys, if you see here, from source to destination, source would be the one machine, the destination is google.com. So from source to destination, there are a lot of hops are available. There are a lot of devices are participating between from the source to destination. Maybe let's take one example. The link between router and the servicer goes down. This will impact the operations. User will not able to access the google.com. Or else, if the link goes down in the Google data center also, user will not able to access the website. Or else, if the switch goes down, even the user will not able to access the google.com. So for there are a lot of hops, there are a lot of devices are involving from source to destination. Just keep in mind. Why I'm repeating this question, right? Yes, it's very difficult for us to figure out and to do some troubleshooting, right? So for troubleshooting, we are using one important thing is OSI layers. We have to follow the standards, that is OSI layer. So I'm going to tell you that later. So there are a lot of devices are involved. Even maybe if the link goes down, or the switch goes down, or the router goes down, or service provider goes down, or application goes down, it's very difficult for us to troubleshoot. So we have to follow the standards to figure out where exactly the issue was, and using the standard will be easily figure out where exactly issue. So this is about the routers. Let's go back to the next slide. Yes, firewalls. So firewalls is nothing but, so in a perfect world, we could trust everyone and we don't have to worry about security. Unfortunately, besides all the great things the internet offers us, there is a lot of malicious stuff. Think like of viruses, malware. Recently, you may get a lot of hacking attacks from the external vendors, right? External persons. So if you want to restrict, if you want to control, if you want to filter the unwanted traffic, we should go for the firewalls. So firewalls are simply used to inspect network traffic and drop malicious traffic. We can use them to encrypt network traffic so that remote workers can access applications on the company network in a secure way. Just keep in mind, network is nothing but it used to filter and control the traffic. Firewalls are nothing but it is used to filter and control unwanted traffic. So this is just normal functionality, guys. A lot of things we need to learn, but this is a functional, just definition I'm just giving functionality of particular firewall. So yeah, this is about firewalls. Yeah. Now let's try to understand IP, Internet Protocol. So IP uses packets called IP packets to carry information. IP determines where to send packets by looking destination IP address. And IP address is 32-bit and consists of two parts, the networking part and the host part. So it consists of IP consists of 32-bit address, 32-bit and consists of two parts. One is network part and one is host part. Okay, this I'm going to cover it later. Yeah. Yes, I'm going to. I'll cover this one later tomorrow, not today. I think a lot of things we have to cover. Yeah, that's it, guys, for today. Regarding the network usage, networking hardware, and any questions, guys, till the three components. Dhanush, Shreyans, Nidhi, and Paul, any questions?
No, Sandeep.
No, Sandeep, I have, it's not, it might be related to it. Now, when you say it, right, like we have firewalls, right? When the traffic comes through, the traffic goes through the firewall to and it goes to the predefined rule which is set up, like, which is to be allowed, which is to be blocked. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when the firewall, how a firewall is set up in between the network, in between the, the host devices and the incoming traffic, how a firewall is set up?
Yeah. So normally, right, the AV interfaces, see, because I designed the ICSA bank data center, I think in Hyderabad, one of the data center we plan in Hyderabad, right, that's ICSA. So I was one of the person who designed the ICSA bank data center. So if you remember, for any enterprise, we have to follow the standards first thing, right? So let's take in nowadays. 10 years ago, there are no two-layer architecture. So at that time, we have the three-layer architectures. So that means, let's take an example. This is considered as a, anyway, I'm going to teach you this later, but for as you ask the question, I'm going to teach you. This is considered as access switches, where end devices will be connected directly. Here, end user machines will be connected directly. Servers or switches or servers or the end users will be connected directly to the access switches. In the top of it, we'll be using distribution switches. The top of it will be using access switches. Core switches. Why I took here the two switches for redundancy purpose. If this switch goes down, it will impact the overall overall the servers or the overall end users which were connected to the particular switch, right? So to avoid such kind of scenarios, we'll be using redundant switches. So here, this is the distribution. Just I'm giving a distribution. This is the core switch. Now here you'll be using the firewalls. Here we're using the routers. Normally in the production we'll be using two routers, two firewalls, but anyway, this is lab. I just written small way. I'm sorry. One second. This is the internet. Okay, these are the routers. Router 1 is router 2. Let's take this, the ASA firewall or Palo Alto. There are a lot of products. Firewalls has a lot of products. First one is ASA. Cisco is a Cisco product. It's a FortiGate, Palo Alto, Checkpoint. What else? Yeah, Juniper. There are a lot of products are available in the market. Either you can choose any one of the product. So ASA completely for Cisco product, and FortiGate is different product, and Palo Alto is different product. These are the four important firewalls. ASA, either you can use for ASA. Most of the organizations use the ASA or FortiGate product. Either one of them will be used in the productions. So in my case, just like as I'm using the ASA firewall. Okay. So this ASA firewall will act in between the core as well as the routers. So in the similar fashion, this is considered as a LAN. We'll be having one more thing is called DMZ. In similar fashion, they'll be also having called the same core switches, distribution switches, access switches, and the servers. This will be connected to the firewall. Okay, so here we are dividing in the ASA firewall itself. We are creating the logical environments, logical zones. For example, in the ASA firewall, let's say this is the outside interface. This is outside. This is inside. This is DMZ side. Okay. Now we come to your question. So this is the architecture, right? Now your question is how we can filter, how we can control the traffic using the firewalls. So here we have to define the rules, the policies. In the ASA firewall itself, we have to define the policy. Notepad. The policy. Always keep in mind, guys. Any firewalls, any devices, everything will works on the 4 important things. The first one is rule number. The second one is protocols. Third one is source IP, destination IP, and port number. So rule number by default it starts from the 1, or you can create from the 100 as well. That's defined. For other products, FortiGate, the rule number will be automatically, it will be assigned. But in terms of ASA, we have to manually, explicitly, we have to define the rule numbers. Protocols means either TCP or UDP or HTTP traffic or HTTPS traffic, whatever it may be. You have to specify over here. The source IP means, for example, let's say this is the end user call 1.1.1.1 want to access the Google server. This Google server IP, let's take an example 8.8.8.8. Okay, so now 1.1.1.1 want to communicate with 8.8.8.8. So by default, using the ASA firewall, all the traffic will be denied. Explicitly it will be denied. All the traffic will be by default, it will be denied, but normally they will mention as a denied. By default, all the traffic will be denied. Okay, so what we are doing on the top of, maybe let's take deny rule is there on 200 rule, denies any deny. On the top of it, we have to write one room called 100. We have to mention the rule number, the protocol. What is the protocol number here? I want to enable. Let's take I want to access the web browser on works on the HTTP, right? So HTTP, TCP, source IP. What is the source IP? 1.1.1.1. What is the destination IP? 8.8.8.8. What is the port number is trying to access? Google server will access on the port number 443. We enter the google.com. Copy this. Copy here. If you see here, just copied the Google.com. It shows the HTTPS. HTTPS works on the port number 443. Anyway, I'm going to teach that as well. What is the port numbers, everything, but no worries. You have to specify the port number 443. Now, whenever the packet initiated from the end user machines, this machine will be initiated. It reaches the switches. Switches will forward to the next hop. This is the distribution. This is the core switch. From the when the packet reaches the core switches, it reaches the firewalls. Firewalls, whenever the packet reaches the firewall, it will see the policies. What are the policies we define? If the policy we define, it will come to the policies to verify whether what is the source IP. Yes, 1.1.1.1, and it will verify for 8.8.8.8. If it matches, the firewall will permit the traffic and it will forward to the routers. If the same machine is trying to access the 9.9.9.9, right? In these cases, the same pattern will follow. It reaches, it will come to the ASA file. It will verify what is the source 1.1.1.1. What is the destination 9.9.9. It will verify. It will come to the policies. It will verify whether 9.9 is available or not. If it does not exist, it will go for the next policy. What is the next policy? 200 deny, permit any deny. Then the traffic will be dropped in the ACA file itself. So this is the way we have to define the policies to control and filter the traffic. Any questions? Paul?
No. I got it.
Yeah,
So,
I think I just given the architecture level, but normally
right.
in the back end, a lot of things we have to define. Yeah, whenever the time permits, yeah, we can discuss more into that. Just is the overall architecture just given.
Got it. At least now I have a clear picture how the rules and where exactly it is being set. But as you said, you will take us through, right? Like how it is set up and all, right? If the
Yeah, I
time
mean, I'm not
permits.
going to teach you. I'm not going to teach you the ACF firewall. I can give you
Mm-hmm.
the overall. At least yeah, I can give you one session of how ACF firewall works and the design of the networking. I can give you that information.
Yeah,
Definitely,
that
that's
would be.
that's there in my in our courses.
Yeah, that would be
Uh,
sufficient, I think. So, Sandeep, one thing. So, when you say that we have ASA, FortiGate, Palo Alto, then Juniper and Checkpoint. So, these are the kinds of like types of firewall. So as you
it's a
specified, ASA.
product.
Yeah,
It's
sorry,
a
these are the
product.
products. These are the products
Yeah,
when like any service vendor, service provider supplies or
yeah,
anything. So,
yeah.
if I have Cisco devices, I can only use ASA. I cannot use FortiGate or Palo Alto.
No, no, no. So Cisco developed the ACF product. In a similar fashion, FortiGate will develop their own product. Palo Alto will maintain their own product. Checkpoint has their
Right,
own product. So this is this. You can call this. These are the Samsung. Let's take a mobile, right? So Samsung has
hmm,
their own product, right? Mobiles.
right, right.
So yeah, if you choose this Samsung product, you have to purchase only the Samsung product. In the similar fashion, if you choose the Cisco, you have to purchase only the ACF fiber.
Okay, got it. So if I that depending on the device, I have to select. I have to use that particular product firewall.
Yeah, yes. In the similar fashion, FortiGate has a number of products for the firewalls. I mean, it's we can call it as products versions. FortiGate. Let's take Palo Alto. Models. Yeah, this is the list of models. In the similar fashion, AAC has the lot of models. Yeah. Let me. So this is PA7080 model, 7050 model. Okay. And the similar fashion will be having called AAC as well. AAC also the CSR lot of models will be there. On base of that, you have to you have to purchase it according to your usage. So license, right? How many users the traffic will be in, how many users you want to filter the control to control the traffic, the licenses, what licenses you would be required. On basis of that, you have to purchase the model.
Okay.
But one or 2 days, yeah, definitely I'll teach you what is my firewalls, exact definition, everything I'm going to teach you on 1 or 2 days. At the time,
Okay.
we'll come to
Thank,
know clear picture.
okay. Thank you very much, Sandeep.
So yeah, that's it, guys, for today. So okay, I think I need to cover one more thing. Sorry. So yeah, by tomorrow, guys. So what we have to do? Oh, I think I have a different class today. Okay, let's regroup for tomorrow. We can discuss the remaining topics tomorrow. Okay. So any questions, guys, before we end up the session? Any questions, Paul, Nidhi, Dhanush, or Shreyans?
No, Sandeep. Thank you. It's good for the day.
No, Sandeep, thank you so much.
Super. So guys, please make please I always request you guys to prepare the notes. Whatever the topic I'm discussing, kindly make a note, and that will be helpful for you only. Okay, just prepare in a presentation, prepare the notes and revise the notes daily basis. So that will be then in these cases, what happened, right? It will be stuck in your mind, and whenever you go for interviews, no need to buy her anything. Just you will be you will represent with them very in a easy way, that will be helpful for you. Just make a notes and study as per your convenience. Okay, that's it, guys, for today. Let's regroup tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. Yeah.